So what I'll do is I'll just spend about 7 to 10 minutes on giving a perspective of persistent and how we play in this ecosystem. And from our ecosystem perspective, all of you are stakeholders from different perspectives, whether you are a PE company or a portfolio company, and even partners like Alex and so on. So a little bit about Persistent. Persistent was founded about 30 years back by Anand Deshpande, who's our exec chairman. We are, as of today, about 566 million in revenue. Our financial year just ended in March of 2021. We are listed in India. We have a market cap of about $2.5 billion. We are one of the fastest growing company in our sector, and we are very focused around doing product development, whether it is for technology companies or taking the same tenets into doing application engineering or platform engineering for large banking financial services or healthcare kind of customers. We roughly have about 350 services clients and a team of about 13,500 spread globally across 15 odd corporation countries. From a expertise perspective, we participate, and this you can even relate to your portfolio companies. We participate in right from doing their digital business strategy to doing the digital engineering side of it, and this could be based on doing products grounds up, or if they are looking at using platforms like Salesforce and so on. We were early adopters of platforms like those. And even for companies like BMC, when the first Remedy Force came to existence, we were the ones behind it. So significant experience in doing digital engineering, whether grounds up or based on these platforms. From a growth perspective, even the COVID times saw us grow pretty rapidly, and that is a proof point of how many different corporations, including PE portfolio companies, leverage us to further their digital transformation journeys in even these tough times. What we bring to bear for different customers is our expertise and a set of strategic partners, right from AWS to the other hyperscalers like Microsoft, from the Azure perspective, or Google, or platforms like Salesforce, Savient, and so on. That's roughly the spread in terms of the technology and the presence. Now, in terms of our overall, software development expertise, this is where we started off as a corporation. Roughly about 60% plus of our revenues, even today, come from the enterprise software side of the house, and where we are engaged with the leading enterprise software companies, whether they are a company like a Microsoft or even doing core development for AWS on their core cloud components, or to the startups to unicorns, whether they are VC funded or PE owned, and so on. And the kind of segments that we deal with within the enterprise software side could be the infrastructure ISVs, could be ISVs which are focused on vertical specific things, whether they are in fintech, health tech, or related to telcos, and so on and so forth. From a size and scale perspective, just for the context size, so we have been dealing with early stage companies, Series A, B, C funded companies, or even companies which are smaller listed companies like Renalytics AI, which happens to be in the renal disease space, or things like Gojoko, which is a credit union, and so on. So pretty much the spread from there to large Fortune 500 companies. And even for the likes of IBMs and the Intuits, we own products end to end. What this means is we are doing not just the engineering part of it, but right from working with their product management to do the engineering, the testing, the sustaining engineering, professional services, and 9 yards of taking it to market in a go to market as well. And that's where the relationships that we have with some of the portcos for people like yourselves are fairly interesting, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. So this is how people like Zinnov see us, and we are right up there when it comes to the expertise, whether it is enterprise software or it is consumer software. We pretty much believe in innovation, and that's where we are known for doing hackathons, whether it is the biggest hackathon in India called the Smart India Hackathon, or whether it is hackathons which are customer specific, right from the Cisco's of this world to healthcare organizations like Mount Sinai to NetApps, and so on and so forth. So this is another thing where we are very different from an innovation culture, from investing in a CTO organization which works with our customers to prove out the forward-looking technologies before they become mainstream as well. Now, when we look at our private equity space, this is a very interesting space for us. From our perspective, private equity and we are a very symbiotic kind of relationship. If you look at it, when we partner with someone like yourselves, we could be looking at partnering with you right before even an asset is acquired, during the diligence stage. And these could be secondary transactions from one PE to a PE, could be bolt-ons for a PE organization where we bring in our tools and technologies to be able to even assess the platforms or products being brought in by the incoming candidate from a potential acquisition perspective. And these could also be, on the other end, carve outs from large enterprises where you need to do many different things outside of engineering as well, where you're setting up greenfield IT and you have a TSA in place and you need to consume the transaction from a standalone entity being created. And thereon, the entire investment into doing the innovation and also taking the cost out where the cost out can be done. So our journey with many different PEs and their portfolio companies has been a mix of doing the right financial structuring as they acquire the asset and move it from cost out to value creation, and where we have not just as I said before, done product engineering, but we have also partnered to take them to market. As a company, we have more than 350 good size customers from their own revenue perspective and who could be customers to our PE portfolio companies. And that's the other real estate that becomes available to the portcos, and that also helps them reduce their distance to revenue, helping them scale much faster. And it also gives us the professional services revenue. So it's all a very complementary kind of a thing. And as we move through the value creation cycle, and as the value is created, the PE looks at divesting the asset. We work with the PE and the portfolio company on doing the exit planning and also ensuring continuity post the exit, whether it is, if at points in time, some portcos have been bought by strategics who want to take over the teams. We've even assisted during that phase. And at times it's about, assuring the continuity of the relationships with the new acquirer. From a landscape perspective, we have dealt with, as of this point in time, we are actively involved with 12 different PE firms, some of whom are named here. We work with more than 25 portfolio companies, and roughly about 50 million plus of our revenue comes from these portfolio companies of different private equity. So, in a nutshell, we understand your landscape. We have worked hand in glove with many of you, and we understand how we can, right from doing operational improvements to helping in multiple expansion through innovation and revenue enhancement initiatives, how we have created value together for our customers and their portfolio companies. Now, I would be very curious to hear all of you out, because we know what we know, but you are practitioners. So from our perspective, next hour or so is very valuable to get your point of view on how you are looking at creating value for your portcos, and how even companies like ourselves could be good partners or a good tool in your toolkit to drive that. So with that, I will hand over back to the team and look forward to the discussion.